And welcome to episode 576 of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says,
Fuck, it's hot.
oh my god, dude. It is broiling.
The week before, I didn't delve into it because we talked about so much other stuff, but like that week that was in the 90s was brutal. But this week, it's, cooler temperatures in the high 80s.
Humid as fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, humid.
It is. It's brutal out.
It is. I just can't even, like, just stepping outside, it feels like someone's throwing a fucking warm-ass blanket on you.
It does.
It's
a warm-ass wet blanket.
Oh my god. So fucking humid. And the rain's not helping.
No.
When it rains, it's like, this is like coast heat.
Yeah.
And the rain just comes down and everything just steams and it becomes even worse. Because it's so fucking hot all day.
Right. And apparently that they're saying, like, Tornado Alley has moved.
Okay.
I saw this somewhere, like studies are determining, like, and, like, we're, like, in, like, the northern tip of it now.
Yeah.
And so, Wednesday, we had some pretty brutal weather, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I say apparently because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm watching a movie, not realizing my life is apparently in imminent danger. Like, and Nancy's texting me like, "Hey, how bad is the storm there?" And I'm like, it's raining a little bit. I don't know.
Right.
And well, she calls me and asks me like, "Hey, can you set up the recorded Channel 4 news? My boss's house was damaged and they interviewed her."
Mm.
I'm like, wow, really? It was that bad there? She's like, yeah, it was like almost a tornado here or some shit. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll set a timer. So she comes home and we're watching the recording of the news, and there's her boss, and then they show like some local yahoo, and they're like, and this is footage from White Oak, and there's like trees like bending all the way over and stuff, and she's like, I thought you said it wasn't bad here. I'm like, I didn't look outside.
Yeah.
I heard a little rain. I didn't, Like, there's a reporter, like, 3 blocks down from me, like, talking about down power lines and trees blocking roads. And I'm like, I had no clue.
Crazy.
I'm watching a Nicolas Cage movie. No clue I'm about to die, possibly.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
It is.
And this is like hot for this time of year. I mean, we don't generally get this type of weather till mid-August, late July.
Yeah, I was going to say mid-July. Like, June, especially early June, is always rainy.
Right.
And then you get midway through June, and it starts to warm up. But the humidity doesn't kick in until, like, July.
Right.
And the I knew, like, we had that stretch, I want to say it was in early May.
Right.
Where it was like, or mid-May even, I think it was, where it was like 85 degrees and like 100% humidity. And I'm refusing to put air conditioners in. I'm like, it's May.
Right.
It's too fucking soon. Just sit in front of a fan, you'll be fine. Well, eventually, you end up putting in the air conditioner. By the time I put in the air conditioner, it cooled off again. But you had that like week and a half stretch in May where it was like brutally hot. And then it kind of came back now, and I'm just like I'm the type of guy, like, I will not run my air conditioner unless I absolutely have to in my car.
Right.
And I've had to run the air conditioner in my car, and I'm like, this is just too fucking. You can't even sit comfortably.
I know. You can't.
Like I have no problem. Like if it's warm, I'm like fine, I'll be warm. I can handle that.
Yeah.
But this is too much.
Yeah, it's
You
just too
know.
much to do anything. It sucks for me too because I like to hike so much, but
Yeah.
I will not hike in this.
No, I don't blame you.
I just, everybody says summer, summer. And I was like, yeah, I just don't like hiking. And I mean, where I hike is usually trail covered, right? So,
Right.
and like the sun doesn't beat down on you. I'm in the woods,
Right.
But at the same point, the humidity is so bad that
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
even if you get close to the water, it gets even hotter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so it's just miserable. Like if it's 90 degrees, and there's no humidity, it's actually cooling. It's refreshing to go for a walk in the woods because
Right.
all that tree cover blocks out that sun.
Right. And it's usually like a 10-degree difference.
Yeah, it's completely different.
But humidity's humidity. Like tree
Yeah.
cover doesn't keep you away from humidity.
Nah, you just sweat your ass off.
Yeah.
And it makes you sick because
Yeah.
you're losing so much water,
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so
Yeah, I had to mow my grass I mowed my grass Wednesday morning before all hell broke loose.
yeah.
And I was just I mean, I'm a heavy sweater to begin with. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
but like it was like really coming off of me. I was just like, man, this is. And and it needed to be done. And I kept putting it off
Yeah.
because of the heat. And I was just like, well, this is probably the coolest day I'm gonna get. I'm gonna go out there and do it right now, get it done. And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm just like, this is brutal.
Yeah. Brutal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So how have you been, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hanging in there.
Yeah. Watching anything of interest?
Finished Discovery.
What'd you think of that?
I liked it. I thought it was done well.
Yeah.
I really got into the captain. Number one.
Oh, like that guy. Yeah, the new guy they brought in to replace Saru.
Yeah, I liked it.
I liked him a lot too.
Yeah. I liked his arc.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like one of the reasons I was bummed out that was the end was like, okay, you give me this new, very interesting character, I'll just see how he develops further.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
But yeah, I liked him a lot.
Yeah, I liked his arc.
Yeah.
I liked how he was such a dick, and then
Yeah.
and the season was good. It was interesting. It made sense. You know what I mean? To me,
Yeah.
I liked it. That was good. That was good.
And I liked how it ended. I liked how
Book.
no, not book. Oh, the mysterious guy. I can't think of his name.
Mysterious.
The guy who was the director.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The my God,
It's okay.
I can't remember. I can't even think of the name of the guy
He's
who
a horror
plays it.
director.
Huh?
He's a horror director.
Yeah. But him like his
Cronenberg.
Cronenberg's character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I loved how they tied him in. I don't know if you would have caught this because I don't think you watched the series, but like with like Enterprise,
Yeah.
like he was like in that show, and they mentioned I think in the beginning of season 3 about the temporal wars because time travel is illegal,
Yeah.
and the temporal wars go back to like the Enterprise show
Mhm.
with Scott Bakula.
Uh-huh.
And there was a guy, his name was Daniels, that was a time traveler fighting in the temporal wars.
Uh-huh.
And the Enterprise and the formation of the Federation was a major point that certain people in the future and in the past, because of the temporal aspect, were trying to prevent from happening.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they kind of tied Cronenberg's character to that's who that was,
Yeah.
I found very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And that's why he has paper.
I know. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
I thought the paper pad was interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Like in all of this technology, he's still pencil and paper guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was stuff like that I've so I found his character even more interesting as that season went on. Like he was already kind of like, ooh, one is Cronenberg,
Yeah.
but two, it's just that the mystery that character had around him, and the fact that they kind of solved that by tying him into that
Right.
character from Star Trek Enterprise, I found very interesting, and I kind of liked it, and I wanted to like. I'm hoping he's in the Section 31 movie. I'm sure he will, but like, I just found that character very cool.
Yeah, he was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, and Cronenberg played him so well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good show.
It was a very good show. Like one misstep of a season.
Yeah.
Like season, and even in season 3, like there's a lot of redeemable aspects to it. Just the ending was just such a stinky turd.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good stuff in season 3 that I enjoyed because you're coming into the future.
Right.
You're coming, so they can play with the technology a little bit. Some of it I liked, some of it I didn't. Like I did not care for them to attach the cells.
Yeah.
Like that just seemed dumb to me.
Yeah.
But there were other things I did like, and I thought it was very well done, and I thought it's a show that to
It was
me
really well done.
it lived up to the Star Trek reputation
And more.
Yeah.
I think. I really like Saru's character.
Yeah.
And his whole arc. Do you know what I mean? I love the character of Saru.
Yeah.
The way he was played, his body language,
Yeah.
the way that he looks, like he really
Like Doug Jones crushed that.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm glad he was a center character.
Yeah.
He deserved it.
Absolutely, yes.
And he almost became more of a center character than she.
Yeah.
Like I just really liked it. I really liked the development between him and the Vulcan.
Yeah.
It was just, and I liked how she thought outside the box.
Yeah.
Because Vulcans don't usually think outside of the box.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like she went outside of the box and fell in love with someone that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It made sense.
Yeah.
So, but I really like Saru. Even when he's walking down the hallway.
Yeah. The way like those arms flowed and everything. Yeah.
It's amazing to stay in character.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Emmy-worthy stuff there. I mean, he's acting so well just by his movements.
Right.
And then he's acting phenomenally.
Right.
But then just the slight head turn, and you can see his eyes blink, or, like, it's just really well done.
Which was one of the highlights of the end of season 3 when you saw Doug Jones.
Yes.
And he kept those mannerisms with like the way Saru walked.
Yeah.
Which I can understand how like being in makeup, it might be just a slight bit easier to stay in character with those mannerisms and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was completely out of makeup, and he kept those mannerisms with the way Saru walked and everything. It was like Doug Jones is he's probably one of the most underappreciated actors because he is under makeup so much.
Right.
He's a guy who, like, I go back to like the way he looked in Hellboy and the way he played that character in Hellboy.
So good, right?
Yeah, like as much as like you were like, Hellboy's the guy, Abe was like the heart and soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in many ways, like, and he was so good as Abe, and like it was like he's been in so much other stuff, and you think about like how like Guillermo del Toro used him in Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And the way he portrayed, he's one of those people who like has taken the art of like being under heavy makeup and heavy prosthetic and made it into an art form.
Yeah.
Like he really has. He's taken it to a whole nother level. And it makes you appreciate what he does more than like what like stop motion actors do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I don't want to take anything away because I mean there have been like you think of Gollum. Gollum is like the to me like the high watermark. Like, that's what everybody has to live up to when you're doing that type of acting.
Right. Right.
You know, but Doug Jones has taken like prosthetics and the way you act under a prosthetic to a completely different level that I don't think anybody's ever going to touch.
Yeah. He's just an amazing actor.
Yeah. I watched a few things this week.
Okay.
I think the one you'll be most interested in is I watched a documentary on Disney Plus called Jim Henson Idea Man.
Yeah. How was that?
It was very good.
Was it?
Yeah. Um,
Sorry, I don't understand.
I hate that. But anyway, I liked. I mean, I thought it was a very well done documentary. I thought it was directed by Ron Howard.
Okay.
I thought they did a very good job of like kind of covering who Jim Henson was
Yeah.
and like what honestly is his legacy.
Yeah.
Like what, but also like I mean, it didn't delve deep into it. And even like the family members were like, well, he was Jim, like yeah, I mean, his wife stuck it out as long as she could, and then they ended up getting divorced, and it was because he was driven, he was at work.
Yeah.
When he wasn't at work, he was at work.
Yeah.
He, I feel like his kids maybe appreciated it
Hmm.
a little bit more later on.
Yeah.
Like Brian talked about working on Labyrinth. That was
Yeah.
like his first time working on anything.
Yeah.
And he talked about like I wasn't working with my dad, I was working with Jim. And it was a completely different experience than being around my dad.
Yeah.
Because I was around Jim.
Yeah.
Jim was at work.
Yeah.
This is what we did. And it was I think you'll enjoy it. Like I don't think there's going to be anything that comes out of it that you're going to be like, oh, well, that's new information. I didn't know that because you know a lot more about Henson than I do.
Yeah.
But I thought I did a good job of really tackling like the early days of what Sabine Wren. But tackling the early days of like building that group,
Yeah.
the stuff that they were doing in the early days before Sesame Street, before the Muppet Show,
Yeah.
Everything that kind of led up to that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it's one of those rare times where you get like Frank Oz talking about because Frank doesn't do that much anymore.
Yeah.
Like as far as like talking about like those days,
Yeah.
and he was he was pretty open, and I mean it was I enjoyed it. It's like 2 hours, and it was a very very well done documentary that kind of covered a lot of territory in that 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I still rolled a tear. They were showing like the funeral,
Mm.
and I remember Big Bird singing it. It's not easy being green,
Yeah.
and I still was rolling a tear
Oh wow.
because
Yeah.
because of how much like Jim Henson meant to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's that thing. Like I don't think people can truly understand. Like, but it was like I grew up on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
You know, And then I transitioned to the Muppet Show, and then the movies, and then, you know, the Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, and like, all these things that were like what other people would consider, well, it's an oddity. It's like, it's David Bowie's giant cod piece and shit like that. But it was like for us, for you and I, that was a major part of our childhood.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as much as we always talk about like, Star Wars is home, that's where it all starts. It probably really starts with Jim Henson.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And goes from there.
Yeah.
So, like, I know it's Pittsburgh blasphemy, but Jim Henson's probably more important to my childhood than Mr. Rogers is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, for sure.
And I mean, and that's Pittsburgh blasphemy. If you say that to somebody around here, they'll like, how dare you? But it's true. Like I was more influenced by Kermit, the Muppets, and
Right.
I appreciated Mr. Rogers. I understand what Mr. Rogers was, but you compared his puppets to Henson's Muppets.
Night and day.
Night and day. Like I'm sorry, it is. Like King Friday wasn't that cool. Like the only truly cool puppet that Fred had was Daniel Striped Tiger.
Yeah.
And then there was Lady Elaine.
Yeah.
In that horror show.
Yeah, I know.
So like I was more influenced by Kermit and the Count and Bert and Ernie than I ever was by Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Let's not forget Emmett Otters.
Oh yeah, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, which that was the only thing I was bummed out about that they glazed over.
Okay.
There were two things I was bummed out that they kind of glazed over. One was Emmett Otter, and two was the working relationship Jim had with Paul Williams.
Okay.
Because I mean, and the majority of those songs, especially like when Emmett Otter, and I know in the Muppet movie,
Mm-hmm.
like those songs were Paul Williams.
Yeah.
And so he has a major influence as well when it comes to that stuff. Like
Right.
all that music was Paul Williams music. So they had a collaboration that I was surprised it kind of got glazed, like didn't even get touched on.
Right.
And Emmett Otter was done before the Muppet movie as like a proof of concept that you could do it.
Yeah.
Like that was Jim trying to prove, okay, we can do a Muppet movie here, and that Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is going to be the proof that we could do that. So like to me, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is very, very important, not just because of how much I love it, but because it was a proof of concept. Like
leading up to the Crystal.
Yeah. Well, no, leading up to just the Muppet movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because the Muppet movie, like the thing with the Muppet movie was like how can you make this work for an hour and a half,
Right.
2 hours? Like there's no way like Muppets can hold the screen that long.
Right.
Because even like the Muppet Show is only 30 minutes.
Right.
So like for to like create the stages, create like the minute, like if you watch Emmett Otter, the minute details that go into like the houses in the background and the people moving and like all the little subtle things that make that come alive are more intricate than anything they were doing on the Muppet Show.
Right.
And so that was part of it, like, from a production standpoint, can we make this all work? Well, yes, it's going to be hard work, but it can be done, and this is how.
Right.
Like, there is some amazing, like, intricacies to Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, like, especially with the backgrounds and stuff that make it not look stagnant.
Right.
That there's actual, like, you watch, and you believe there are people living in those houses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's stuff like that they were trying to prove we can translate this over and do a full-blown movie on.
Yeah.
And not just a 22-minute show.
Right.
So, but it's a very well-done documentary. So I watched that, and I watched the Nicolas Cage movie I was watching as I almost died. Was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
Mm.
The entire concept of the movie is Nicolas Cage is playing himself,
Okay.
and he's broke,
Okay.
which that's Nicolas Cage.
Right.
So he takes a job to go to some guy's birthday party for like $1 million
Okay.
in Spain,
Okay.
all expenses paid. Well, it turns out that the guy is suspected to be
I saw this.
in arms. Okay, yeah, you saw
And
that.
that was Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Yeah, it was good.
I enjoyed
It was
that
a
hell
highlight
out of it.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. Sorry, I didn't mean to burst your bubble.
No, you're fine. I'm glad you saw it.
Yeah,
So,
I saw that movie.
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of that. I thought it was phenomenal. Cage was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I watched that. I watched season 2 of that '90s show. That was really good.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, it's the same. It's the same humor as like that '70s show, only in the '90s. So I love that '70s show. So this is just a continuation with some of the same characters, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah.
There was that, and then I watched Godzilla -1.
Oh, you watched it again?
Yeah, it's on Netflix now, so I watched it, and it was still phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you were here. Superfan Thad did not care for it.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't like when Godzilla's the bad guy. I mean, as rude as he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, like I get like I'm not gonna blast that. Like, because it's not for everybody. I understand that. And I'm certainly not gonna, like, if you like when Godzilla's like the hero, when Godzilla's like the protector of children, like in the '60s, like I get that, like because that was my introduction to Godzilla. It wasn't until much later on that I went back and watched the original movie, and I was like, oh my god,
Destructor.
yeah. So I get it to an extent, but like I felt like this was a phenomenal movie that, like, it was just as good the second time watching it.
Okay.
Like, I don't know when it might become something I watch on a yearly basis.
Okay.
Because it's a deep movie, and it's not like I could watch like the MonsterVerse movies at any time because it's fluff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are absolute fluff movies.
Yeah.
But that movie is a little bit more.
I did not enjoy. I told you I went and saw the latest King Kong.
Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
I don't know why. I just couldn't. Maybe I'll give it another shot.
Well, it's coming on HBO Max this week, I think.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't.
Yeah, that's coming out this week. I also saw this week, I think it's Wednesday, July 3rd, the new Beverly Hills Cop movie drops on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'll be watching that.
Yeah, and I watched and what else? Shit. I lost it. I was getting ready to tell you.
Yeah.
Something coming out. Can't think of it.
Okay. Well, the other thing I watched.
Oh, the new season of The Bears coming out.
Yeah, I saw
It's
it.
out.
Yeah, I saw that was dropping on Hulu. Yeah. Like, I think I dropped the whole thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And also I watched, just on a whim, because it seemed like a good idea at the time, I rewatched Aliens.
Oh, okay. Which cut?
I think it was the original cut, because it was missing quite a bit that I remembered.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, hold on a second here. So I think this was like the original cut. It was on HBO Max. Max.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, like they didn't have any of like the I thought this was in the original cut too, but I was wrong apparently. Like with the drones in the hallway,
Yeah.
like firing at the because it just ends up like they seal everything off, and then like Hudson's like, I got movement, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, they're in the ceiling. But they never had that scene where like they had the drones with like the 200 rounds or whatever in the hallways.
Yeah.
And like that tension that builds because it's like 150, 100, like counting down like until the drones run out of ammo.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like that was missing like at the beginning.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem. I mean, Aliens is one of the best movies for me, action-wise made. Really.
It may be better. Like I hate to say this because to me it's a sacrilege to disrespect Ridley Scott in any way, but it might be better than the original movie.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a really good film, and it kind of lulls in certain parts, and Newt gets on my nerves after a while. But that scene with Newt in the fucking water where that tail comes up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's incredible imagery right there.
That is. Like that is like so well done.
Yeah. And also too the fighting in the beginning. How they're locked and loaded.
Yeah.
And they got to get rid of the weapons.
Yeah.
And then you hear the guy with the cigar,
Alpone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calling out the orders. All right, ladies, come on. Like that. And it's like he keeps going. Like it's like a real sergeant.
Yeah.
Like it's completely believable how he's talking to his crew.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it's so believable.
Yeah.
And when they start going down and they all start getting attacked and the mass chaos, you can feel that tension. You could feel that loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could feel that, things are jacked up right now and they're not getting out of there and they're lost.
Yeah.
And it's that whole scene, that whole beginning is really, to me, what makes that movie. Because it not only from how it's directed, from the sergeant barking out the orders,
right?
But you see aliens now as, man, these guys are fucking fucked up. I mean, it's like a horror movie.
It is.
Do you know what I mean? But a really well done horror movie,
right?
And it's you see the power of this alien species, working together. Do you know what I mean?
The hive mind and everything.
Yeah,
like an ant colony.
Correct. Protecting the queen.
Yeah.
Making it their own.
Yeah.
With all the Geigerish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It was just unbelievable. And there was tons of moments where the stickiness and there were certain things all throughout that, I'm telling you, that opening scene, which introduced you to now this is what aliens are.
Right.
This was a parasite on board of a ship.
Yeah.
And it got in somebody in the egg layer and the face hugger and all that stuff. And you saw that in the first one. But when you see this movie, this is what they do.
Right.
This is how they take over colonies and planets. You know what I mean? Like, you can't let it escape.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
Because they're unstoppable.
Right.
I mean, they're not, but they are. Because they multiply. And the whole colonization of the people and the getting the face hugger on. And do you know what I mean? It just makes sense.
Yeah.
The alien laying the egg.
Yeah.
In order to get the face hugger, in order to breed. You know what I mean? It just makes complete sense. The science behind it's like really good. So, and the addition of the robot was good too.
You're right.
Now you're seeing a robot that's a lot different than the robot that we knew before.
And even at the beginning, he's like, "Oh yeah, that model, they were glitchy."
Yeah, I know.
We've come a long way since then.
And when
Ripley's like, "Fuck you,"
and then Ripley realizes that he is a robot after he does the knife thing. on Hicks, I think. Hudson's arms.
Yeah.
On his hand.
Yeah.
And she realizes, oh shit, PTSD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of it was really good. The way they loaded stuff onto the ships, the way they armed themselves, the weaponry that they had, the flamethrowers. It was, for the time period, for the time that was made, it was well ahead of its time.
It was.
Well ahead of its time.
And I think more importantly, like, it's one of those things, like, it's the first time you really see what James Cameron, like, he always gets the military stuff right.
Right.
Like, you talked about, like, Alpo and, like, the way, like, even, like, when he gets out of, like, the hibernation chamber, like, the first thing he does is put a cigar in his mouth. Then he's up. He's like, it's another beautiful day in the Corps.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, shit like that. Like, I mean, when Hudson's like, man, this floor is cold. Would you like me to get your slippers? Like, I love that, Sergeant. Look me in the eye. Like, shit like you're like, oh, fuck.
He was so good.
Yeah. Like,
and it's a shame he died so early.
It was. But at the same time, so, like, it was, and you talk, like, the loading, and, like, every all that type of shit is, like, stuff that, like, Cameron has always excelled at.
Yeah.
Like, you think about any James Cameron movie, like, even, like,
and I'm going to say this.
As much as we have to show in the Avatar movies, like, the military stuff, from a futuristic standpoint, is, like, spot on.
Yeah, especially in Avatar. That was the cool thing about Avatar.
Yeah.
The military stuff is what fascinated me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this, and this is sacrilege on so many levels, right? But I thought that Aliens 2 was better than any Terminator movie that ever came. And I'm saying that. And I know I'm going to get shit for it, but I feel that Aliens 2 I feel that it was Cameron at his best.
I can't disagree with that.
I do. I like the concept of the Terminator. I get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that concept, what pisses me off about the Terminator is that concept was never fully realized. There could have been so much more to the Terminator that you only got bits and pieces throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's all you got. You would get flashes of what the war was like. You know what I mean? Or what the becoming aware was. You get flashes of bits and pieces, and then you got overacting by what's her name later on. It was too much.
Yeah.
By Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
It became insanity. At least that's how I felt.
Right.
But the design of Aliens 2, the story that was told, was much better than the Terminator films. Just much better. I liked the concept of the Terminator. It made sense. But, I mean, realistically, the first Terminator was all it was. I mean, it was a good movie, and it's up there. But it was a stalker movie.
It's a Jaws movie.
Yeah.
And all on, I mean, that's what it is. It's Jaws.
Yeah.
But,
like, when you think about it, I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
But the thought and detail that went into Aliens 2, come on now. So good. But anyway. I like the Terminator, but I was just never a huge fan of the Terminator. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'm a bigger fan of the Terminator than you are. Because I think T2...
Well, it was a different angle, right?
Yeah. But I really like T2 a lot. The thing you have to look at, like, especially with the Terminator movies, is like, how much involvement did he have? Because, like, past T2, like, in Terminator 3, he didn't direct that. I don't think he wrote it. And then in the Christian Bale one, I don't think he was involved with it at all. It's horrible. And then the one with Khaleesi,
yeah,
like, they had a really good beginning and a really shitty third act.
Yeah.
Like, I think he just kind of, like, gave his nod of approval to.
Yeah.
And I know he was a big part of Dark Genesis.
Yeah.
He wrote a good portion of that,
Yeah.
which is probably why it's like the best of like all the sequels beyond T2.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm trying to look up. Director. Okay, here we go. Like, you look at some of the shit he's done. Like, Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Like,
I like,
that's a hit row.
I like The Abyss.
So do I.
Yeah.
I think it's a very underrated movie. And again, like a movie that, like, he put so much research into, like, what it would be like living
Yeah.
at that, like, you know, plus you throw in the military aspect of, like, there is a lot of, oh, and then 94 True Lies. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, it was good.
Like, I mean, even like you throw in like Titanic in '97, which, I mean, I view that as two separate movies. There's the first movie, which is the love story between Jack and Rose. Then it's the second movie where he hits the fucking iceberg.
Yeah.
I like the second movie.
Yeah.
You know, like, once it hits the iceberg, I'm like, oh shit, this is really well done.
I just loved how the water was filling in the boat.
Yeah.
He just did that perfectly.
And then, like, you know, that's when, like, after that, that's when he starts into his, like, Ghosts of the Abyss and Alien. Like, he starts doing, like, documentaries about, like, the deep water.
Yeah.
But, like, but then after that, then you get to Avatar, and then, you know, Avatar 2. Like, it's like, I mean, he does a lot of stuff as, like, a producer and a writer. Like, he produced Point Break. He produced one of my favorite hidden gems, Strange Days.
Yeah.
You know, so like he does other stuff, but like, I wish he'd just get away from like the Avatar stuff and get back to like I don't know, like doing like science fiction, like real science,
Yeah.
like the Avatar stuff is just I just don't get into it.
Right.
I tried.
Well, I don't think Avatar is a really good movie.
It's not. I mean, like,
I mean, the effect wise, I think that's what he was pushing.
yeah. Like, even in the second movie, it's like, it's not that. It was like this. You know, the special effects were amazing, but like the story was like meh.
Yeah.
You know.
It's almost like it was a concept that was made into a movie.
Yeah.
And without much of a strong writing backing. If that makes any kind of sense. It's almost like I don't know. Avatar always came across to me as like almost like a sequel to someone's mind. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it wasn't like it just, there was a lot of ideas thrown there, but I don't think it was ever like truly put together.
Well, I mean, it is in a way, but it's just the problem is it's not interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing with like the connection between the Na'vi, and like even like in the ocean, like, you know, they can do the whole tail connecting thing, you know, with whatever thing they're riding, and then there's the giant whales that the sea Na'vi have a relationship with, and but it's that thing of like, it's interesting to a point, but the characters aren't interesting. Like, I don't have it in, like, I never end up getting an investment in the character.
Right. Yeah, I know. I think that's part of the problem.
So but like overall, like, I mean, Cameron's as a director, like, I mean, he pretty much hits nothing but home runs.
Right. Agreed.
All right, so um, an article I found interesting this week I was reading on a Slash Film is they talk about how do you protect HBO?
What do you mean?
Well, HBO is a premium brand. Like, in all honesty, like if you think about it, like HBO has always been the standard, like for all other like pay channels.
Uh,
Like Showtime and Stars are trying to be HBO.
okay.
And like from the time we were kids, like HBO has always felt like a premium. Like it's more than just a TV channel.
Right.
And even later on, when it got out of just like being a movie channel, because I mean, like think about it, like when we were kids, like that started up like when a movie was coming out, it was premiere night. And you got that whole like the camera going down through the city and like like those openings that they had to go to the HBO logo.
Yeah.
Like like that shit was amazing. Like
Right.
it made it feel special.
Right.
And then later on, when they went to like making their own series, like it became a high standard
Yeah.
for most of what they put out.
Yeah.
Like if you really think about it, like over the years, like how many like massive culturally impactful shows have there been that have been HBO originals?
Correct.
So in the age of streaming,
Right.
how do you make HBO still important?
Yeah.
And it is because like you have like House of the Dragon. You just had I can't think of the name of the show. Succession.
Yeah.
Succession was a massive water cooler show.
Yeah.
Like that's how you measure. Like it's like that show that on Monday you're standing at the water cooler at the office talking about it.
Right. Right.
Did you watch Succession last night? Oh boy, did you? It's shit like that. And HBO has been the kings of that for 20 plus years.
Churning out
Churning
show
it.
after show after show after show.
And I mean, you go back to like Oz and The Sopranos and The
6
Wire,
Feet Under.
6 Feet Under. Like that was actually 6 Feet Under was Showtime, I thought.
Are you sure?
No, 6 Feet. You're right. 6 Feet Under. Yeah, that was HBO. The one I was thinking of was the one where the girl dies and she becomes Death. I can't remember.
Pushing Up Daisies?
No, not Pushing Daisies. It was Dead to Me.
Dead Like Me?
Dead Like Me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. That was Showtime. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 Feet Under, and it's just been over the past 20 plus years. They have just churned out these amazing shows,
Right.
that have a high standard as far as like storytelling, and even like with like Game of Thrones and like a high level of special effects. Like they are an industry standard that you want to live up to.
Yeah.
When you put out something.
Yeah.
And so the question becomes like, how do you protect that in the age of streaming?
Yeah.
Like House of Dragon right now. I mean, that's a big show that everybody's tuning into, but like it's something you have to look at like in the future. Like, how do we protect this brand?
Right.
How do we make it relevant? And one of the things that Warner Brothers Discovery is doing is deciding that some of their high-end properties
Right.
should be HBO originals and not Max originals.
Right.
So like they talked about like they've got 3 shows upcoming that were originally scheduled to be, streaming only.
Right.
Their Green Lantern TV show, the It prequel, Welcome to Derry, and they're doing a Harry Potter show.
Right.
All 3 of those now are going to be HBO originals.
Okay.
Because of the high level of production they're putting into it, but also it is a way to protect that HBO brand.
Right.
Like, and I guess like the question becomes, like we talk about like, cable television being in the thralls of death.
Right.
It's so close. You can see like when ratings come in for shows, like you compare it to what it was 10 years ago, even, or 20 years ago. Like the shows just don't draw as much as they used to anymore, and even like on network television.
Yeah.
But streaming, more and more people are cutting the cable and stuff like that. So like I guess is it enough to protect that brand? If you're like, is it worth it to protect that brand if you're Warner Brothers Discovery?
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's worth it.
You think so?
To protect it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it is, don't you?
I don't know. Because like, here's the thing. Like, okay, like it'll be one thing if you told me, in order to watch House of Dragons, you have to subscribe to HBO.
I see.
But the next day, I can watch it on Max.
Yeah.
So how is it really protected?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I see that.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's honestly, that's how I feel. Like, it's that thing of like, I understand you want to protect that brand. That HBO brand is important.
Yeah.
But making it like an HBO original is one thing, but making an HBO exclusive.
Oh, exclusive. I see what you mean. Then no. I think that should come with your subscription. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I understand that. Like that you're
you already
right.
Have the exclusive.
Right.
You're already paying for the service.
Right, but so what's the point in protecting the HBO brand then?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Like you could maybe make it like on the streaming service important.
Uh-huh.
Like have it carry that cachet of like, well, this is an HBO production.
Yeah.
Or this is an HBO original. And maybe that carries some cachet going forward into streaming.
Yeah.
But I feel like...
Or maybe you can do like before the show starts.
Yeah, and some of them do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like have that. Well, this is HBO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's fly through the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, and it's that odd thing of like, if you're trying to protect the cable channel, like, I don't know if you can do that.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But like, it's kind of like in Boston. Boston has this group of reporters, and they will work an extensive amount of time on a subject as a team.
Right.
And then it's called a spotlight article.
Okay.
Well, if it's a spotlight article, that means it's something much different. It's been more in-depthly researched. Like the whole thing with like the Catholic priests and molestation, that came out through a Spotlight article.
Yeah.
That's where that originated from. Like it was Spotlight that did that. And that's what that movie was about. And it was about those reporters in that were working that article the entire time.
Right.
It's a very good movie. I'll never watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a very well done movie. And but like in Boston, like that's something that's important. Like if it has that Spotlight name attached to it, it's something important that must be read.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's what they're trying to do to us. But I don't think you can protect the channel, but you can protect that brand somehow.
Right.
I know that's kind of hard to like differentiate because it's all streaming, but there is something to a brand that we do attach importance to, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. I understand what you're saying. I
Yeah,
maybe I just misunderstood when you
but
said.
but it's also it's still hard to me because it's like that thing of like how long can they last?
Right.
Like I honestly like I look at like the big three, HBO, Showtime, and Stars,
Right.
and I wonder like as a brand like HBO has the advantage of having Max, and Showtime has the advantage of Paramount Plus.
Right.
Stars has nothing. They do not have a streaming service at all.
Right.
Um, Sony for whatever reason has not gotten into that game, and I don't know why.
Right.
So I feel like you could protect you can make the brand still mean something through your streaming service and for HBO and for Showtime. But I guess the other thing, like, okay, so if I'm Warner Brothers, like you're paying, and I've seen other streaming services kind of do this with events, but like, okay, so you subscribe to Max, and with Max you get everything, but maybe for an additional $3 you get HBO.
Right.
Like now it's important
Yeah.
because it's still available on streaming. It's still available on streaming the next day. But in order for me to watch something that was on HBO like that, I have to pay a premium to still get it.
Okay.
Same thing with Paramount Plus. Like, okay, yeah, you can watch anything that's on Paramount Plus, but if it was on Showtime, like the Showtime original, you're paying an extra $3 for it.
Right.
Like that would be something I could see them doing to protect those brands and still make it feel premium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think that's the hard thing to do in like the age of streaming is how is HBO still a premium brand when I'm watching it on Max
Right.
on Monday?
Yeah. I get it.
Sony has the problem of they don't have that advantage at all. Like they need to get in the game.
Right.
I'm shocked that they haven't. They make a deal with Netflix to like, well Netflix can carry our movies so long after or our shows so long after they've run on Stars.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's like that. Well, okay, I mean, so you're on Netflix. You're not like it, Sony has to come up with something at some point. But I also think they're kind of smart in a way that it's like it's a double-edged sword with Sony because it's like part of me is like you have to get in the game. You have to develop your own streaming service to be viable going forward. But also, I think like they're looking at the streaming services going, why would we do that right now?
Right.
Like nobody's making real money.
Right.
Only Netflix.
Right.
Netflix is the only one making money. Like everybody else is losing money with their streaming services. So why would we go into that game and lose money?
Right.
So maybe they're smart in thinking that way then.
Yeah. I don't know.
So the one other thing I wanted to touch on.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen this or not, but a while ago they released what the new Superman suit looks like.
Okay.
And now we've gotten some leaked pictures from the set of the suit in real life.
Okay.
So here's I guess a better real look at the suit. What do you think of that?
I like it. I don't know if I like the S or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I like it. I don't know. I don't think I like it.
No.
Yeah, I think you will because you like those bright colors.
I do.
But I liked the maroon, like,
The darker blue.
I did. But it fit. It fit with Snyder. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, like even like if you go back to
That looks like an updated Christopher Reeve suit.
right. But I like the
And they,
Christopher Reeves.
and they changed the S a little.
Yeah. Yeah, the S looks more Kryptonian.
Yeah.
But one, I like it they brought back the trunks. Because it breaks it up.
Yeah.
It's not all one big blue suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the red trunks do break it up. I think it needs that.
I get that, but what's the purpose?
I mean, you can make something up. Like I just think it looks better.
I know. And I look at it, it looks like Span Jams
Yeah.
on top of biker pants.
Yeah.
You know, it just, I don't know.
I don't know. Like I love the Henry Cavill suit.
Yeah.
I mean, let me start there. Like I did love it. I thought it looked really good. I liked. I like the look of it. What you don't see in this picture, but in others, they're on the cape. He does also have the S on the cape,
That's cool.
which Cavill didn't have.
Yeah.
I don't think the Brandon Roth suit had it either.
Okay.
And the Brandon Roth suit also was like the beginning of like darkening the suit. Like it was not as bright as the Christopher Reeve suit.
Right.
I think in Superman 1 and 2 he did have the S on the back of the cape.
Uh-huh.
I think in 3 and 4 they took it off.
Okay.
But I do like the suit is brighter. Like I do. Like I don't think everything has to be in darker tones. And Superman shouldn't be in darker tones, in my opinion. Like I dig the Cavill look. I think it worked for what Zack Snyder was doing, especially with the color palette that he used in his movies. But like Superman as a beacon of hope should be brighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I do like that they brought the trunks back because I do feel it breaks up the suit as far as like instead of it all being like one big blue jumpsuit, there is a breakup to it that makes it look good.
But it looks dated.
I don't think so.
Well, you're also biased.
Yeah, I guess so, but like I don't think it looks.
I mean, I can understand why you would like that suit.
Yeah,
Completely.
yeah.
I get it. But I also think it looks very dated.
Okay.
To me. I mean, it just looks like a dated suit.
I mean that's your opinion. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just not into it.
Yeah, I mean like the S on the crest, I'm still kind of like.
I kind of like the S. The Kryptonian S.
Yeah. I'm struggling with it just a little bit.
Mm.
Like I don't know, like it's like I dig it, but I don't, because again, traditionalism.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to be an actual S, but it does have that Kryptonian look to it that I'm kind of like, okay, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
In a way, but you know, people are complaining about the suit that it's not form fitting. Like it should be like tighter on them. And I have a feeling that might get cleaned up with like some CGI work. Like I know one of the things like they talked about like with like Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
Was he's wearing the suit, but then they would tighten it up with CGI.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. So like that might be something that they do some post work on to kind of tighten it up and make it a little bit more form fitting, or maybe they won't. Like, it does look a lot like, and this would be my big complaint, like looking at it, like especially the top, it almost looks like a Guardians of the Galaxy jacket,
What?
like the top part, if you really look at it,
Yeah, it does.
you know, and you come to that conclusion only because it's James Gunn,
Yeah.
like, and it's like maybe he's working. I'm sure he's probably working with like the same costume designers he worked with on Guardians, and I'm sure that they probably collaborate together and that's what they come up with. But it does feel like if I was to make a complaint, that would be my complaint. Is like it doesn't look like a Superman suit. It looks like something that Peter Quill would have wore.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, but outside of that, like I dig it.
Okay.
Um, but I like. And I know they released like the initial photo. People were complaining about it then, and you're seeing it like on set, and people are still complaining about it. I'm gonna hold my final opinion until I see it on screen,
Okay.
like the finalized version on screen to see how it really looks.
Yeah.
But based upon the color palette,
Yeah.
like I like it.
Okay.
Like I like the lighter blue. I like the bright red. I like the yellow. Like it feels traditional,
Okay.
and that's what I'm looking for. Is like I've always said, like one of the hardest jobs in the world has to be being a costume designer for a superhero movie, because you want to put your stamp on it as a costume designer,
Right.
but at the same time you have to be very beholden to the comic book.
Right.
And that's a hard line to tread. And sometimes they've gone too far. Sometimes they've not gone far enough. Like I think of the stuff like in the original X-Men movies, the Bryan Singer X-Men movies,
Mm-hmm.
like you hated the black leather.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's not the X-Men. X-Men are like, blue and yellow.
Yeah.
And but like, they make the joke in there, like, what were you expecting us to be wearing? Blue and yellow spandex?
Yeah.
Um like other iterations, like the Batman movies, like you get into like Batman Forever, and then the movie that shall not be named, like they get so far off track with what the bat suit is supposed to look like.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and even in like the Nolan verse, like Nolan's trying to attack it from a practical standpoint of like, what would this be made of? What would he be looking for? He'd be wearing an armor of some type.
Right.
And so it makes sense practically what the suit looks like. Even like the cowl, like when he goes to like the motorcycle helmet type deal, so he can move his head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like practically that makes sense. I understand that, but man, couldn't we have like created something that would have allowed him to move his head? Like it still looked like the traditional cowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
stuff like that annoys me as a fan, and like I even like the Captain America suit in the Avengers looks awful.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny because like they hit like such a home run in First Avenger, and I know like they're trying to do like something traditional, but it looks so fucking bad
Yeah.
that like later on it went back to like the First Avenger suit in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like, which is funny because like that's one of those rare times where like the traditional look just doesn't work
Right.
at all.
I agree.
I try to think like other Marvel movies that like I guess not because they do a pretty good job of like finding that balance for the most part.
Yeah, they do in the Marvel movies. I thought they did.
Yeah, like would I have liked to have seen Hawkeye with the
Yeah.
his cow?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that would have been awesome. But
I know.
I get why you don't do it. You know.
Yeah, but when he showed up as Ronan,
Yeah, that was spot.
yeah,
Like that was straight off the page.
yeah, him in that Ronan costume was
Yeah.
the way he dealt with the sword, everything about it was wicked.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they hit. I think Marvel hit more home runs than they did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I thought that most everything looked good. I thought Ant-Man looked great.
Yeah. Ant-Man, like,
The costume, everything. Wasp. I thought those costumes were really good.
yeah, I agree. And I also thought, like the Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was really well done. And then the Iron Spider later on.
Yeah, the Iron Spider looked actually really good.
Yeah.
I didn't like it in the books as much as I liked it on screen.
Yeah.
Because on screen it was wicked.
Yeah.
Like the movement of it made more sense.
Yeah.
You know, the way it would ball up when he rolled and
Yeah.
landed,
Yeah.
like to protect him.
Right.
That made a lot of sense. And I wasn't a fan of the Iron Spider,
Yeah.
but I liked it on screen.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
yeah, like the way the eyes moved.
Yeah.
Um,
Like that was like the first time you saw those eyes move. I was like, oh shit.
yeah,
Like we're finally getting that,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And I understand why in other iterations they couldn't do it.
yeah,
But still at the same time there was like that it was an oh shit moment of like, did his eyes move?
yeah,
Like, oh wow.
yeah. So, yeah, the costume designs have been pretty well done.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's especially. Doc Ock looked good. From that aspect.
Yeah.
I even like, well, in the newest Spider-Man, I like Goblin.
Yeah. Like he got rid of that goofy ass helmet.
Yeah, and Sandman made sense.
Yeah.
Like it all made sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like brought it back down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To what it should look like.
Yeah.
I mean, talking from Spider-Man, I mean, some of the X-Men stuff has been good too. I'll have to admit, some of the costumes have been okay.
Yeah, I think in the later ones,
I mean, it's hard to fuck up Magneto's costume.
yeah,
When he's in full costume.
right.
It's right there on the page.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is follow the cookbook.
Yeah, I agree.
It's there.
Yeah, I mean, Ian McKellen's Magneto looked like Magneto.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did pretty good with their stuff. But that's different than Marvel. I mean, now it's not going to be, but it was then.
right.
I thought Venom looked good.
Yeah, well, I mean, Venom's tough because you don't get to put the Spider-Man logo on him,
I know.
and yeah, so it's that odd thing of like, I feel like he's missing a massive component of.
Yeah,
I
want it too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
the big spider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
It's an important part of the character.
It is. But
Venom was also changed.
yeah. No, I agree.
Venom's the anti-hero.
Yeah.
As before, he was the menace.
But it the only problem I have, it doesn't look, again, like it's just like one long, with the exception of the eyes, like one long big black figure.
Yeah.
You know, it's missing something breaking up.
But if you had that white spider on,
Yeah.
that would complete it.
Yeah. And but that's the problem is he's
Totally.
just, yeah, it's just the big black, figure, which there's nothing breaking that up.
Power up.
Yeah.
And Carnage looked good. What they did with Carnage was good. I mean,
Yeah.
it was all CGI, but Carnage did look good.
Yeah.
But I thought, as far as the Marvel movies go, I thought Vision looked good. I thought everybody looked very well done. I did.
Yeah.
In the series with Witch,
Yeah.
when she came out with the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh. I even think they ruined the character, but I even think Cyclops looked good. And and not Darkseid, but
Oh, Apocalypse.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
Cyclops actually looked good
Yeah.
in there. So I mean, like when it gets to costumes, I think they do them pretty well. I can't think of an Avenger in the Avengers movie. I can't think of a costume that I didn't really like. I thought the Guardians looked good.
I mean,
think.
you go all the way back to Iron Man. And, like the first time you see him, like in that Mark III with the hot rod red
Yeah.
and gold, like you were like, that looks like they took that right off the fucking page.
Yeah.
Like he looked phenomenal.
He did.
You know.
He did. And like his memory serves, that Iron Man was more boxy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think I have to look. I have to look at the evolution. But I think it slimmed down.
It did.
But
it did to the point where like you had like it looked like it was like it didn't look like a suit, like an iron suit. It looked like it was like a spandex suit.
yeah.
You know, but they also evolved that in the movie in a way like explaining like, okay, well, you went from this boxy,
Right.
you know, hard to put on suit to now the micro technology
Yeah.
that Tony's using.
But even War Machine looked more boxy than Tony.
Yeah.
Like they kept War Machine's look somewhat. Did you notice that? War Machine looked bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, he's supposed to be. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was more that boxy look.
Yeah.
Especially when the fight against Whiplash. Well, they never say Whiplash.
Yeah.
It was
Whiplash. Yeah.
But, because I like the look of War Machine, too.
Yeah.
I liked how he was. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't fancy him up. They kept
No.
him as War Machine.
Yeah.
Because you remember in Iron Man 3, he had all the mech.
Yeah.
He had like, what, 100 and 200 suits.
Yeah.
That he made. And Hulkbuster even looked good, too. When they busted Hulkbuster up.
Yeah. Yeah, and Avengers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked good. It made sense on
Yeah.
why it was the way it was.
Right.
But, you know, who knows? All the Iron Man suits I liked.
Yeah.
It absolutely destroyed me when he just started killing off all the suits. I'm seeing all these suits fly up
Yeah.
from, the books, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all of a sudden, yeah, we're just going to destroy them all. I'm like, really?
Well,
Except for Hulkbuster.
Yeah. Well, no, that became like that odd thing of like, at that moment, I think Downey's contract was up.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to kind of give Tony a happy ending of, well, I'll destroy all the suits for you, Pepper.
Yeah.
So that and then he goes and has even at the end of that movie, like he goes and has a surgery to have everything taken out, so he doesn't need the magnet in his heart anymore.
Right.
And then he goes and does something completely different.
Yeah.
And Pepper calls him on, like, if you remember, like in Infinity War, like at the beginning, like she's calling him out, like, I thought you were done, but yet here you are with what's this? Like, well, this is just a safety precaution,
Yeah.
Like it was interesting to like hear like Tony like try to like he can, as much as he tried to walk away from being Iron Man, he could never walk away from being Iron Man.
Correct. I know. He can't.
Yeah.
He can.
Yeah.
Because he always wanted to protect the world.
Yeah.
And he knew that his mind could.
Yeah.
His just ambition got in the way early
Yeah.
on. But his mind can always predict the world.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about it. No one else could have played him.
No. No, like, at all. Like, you can never reboot that.
No, you can't, because no one fits the bill.
No. I honestly can't think of another actor right now that could.
Step into Iron Man's shoes.
No.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, well, anything you'd like to add to the proceedings there, sir?
No, I'm good.
All right, well, remember there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us. You can send us an email, like Superfan Thad did, and next week, Thad, I promise we'll talk about The Acolyte. Also, I am not watching The Boys at this point. I will wait till the season's complete, and I'll just binge watch it.
Okay.
So that's what. But we do need to talk about The Acolyte at some point
Mm.
because I've been watching. I don't know if you have or not.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
No, good.
I'll save my comments till later.
Yeah.
So you can find us on but you can email us at pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. We're very, very easy to find. And we are on a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. Just give them a Google search. You can find all of the great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, want to thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to check us out each and every week. We can't thank you enough for your support.
Yes.
And on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.